Hello there and welcome back to port. Today we have a special guest here, Blaymeister. I think you already know him. He's a streamer, he's a YouTuber, but as people say, he's something about chickens, and I'm really curious to ask him what is the chicken thing about him. First, welcome to our podcast, and we are really happy to have you here. Hello there.
Hello, sir. It's very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. And yes, the chickens are a thing. An accidental thing. To give you a potted history, I started streaming November 2020, near the end of COVID, or near the end of when we were still in lockdown for whichever time it was. A year into playing this game. And in the new year in 2021, my neighbours had chickens, and I used to go out halfway through the stream and check on the chickens because my fence had come down and there was a chicken in my yard, and it became checking up on the chickens time. And because of this chicken, I became Mr. Chicken, and it became my channel mascot, and everything to do with my channel is now chicken related because of this chicken. And that's all it was. It was simply me going to check up on this chicken. The real reason I was going for a cigarette, but I always went and checked on the chicken, and that's what I was doing. And I did that for 6 months, and until he got eaten by a fox. But yeah, so the chicken is a thing. Completely accidental, very random, no bearing on anything aside from a moment in history when we're all locked indoors 6 years ago, or whenever it was.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us about how you started your journey with World of Warship's Legends?
I have been a jingles watcher and enjoyer for a very long time, and I've watched World of Warship's PC for forever. I was never really a PC gamer, but watched a lot of ships. And played World of Tanks on console for a long time, and became aware that World of Warships Legends was going to be coming out, and got involved in the beta back in April 2019, and I've been playing it ever since. So I got involved in the first beta, whenever that was, in April, and the second one. I never went on to the alpha, and then was there on day one from when it launched, and I've been there till now. I became a community contributor 2023, so I've been a community contributor for 2 years now, year and a half, 2 years, and I've been streaming Warships since November 2020, almost every day. So yeah, it's been a long old time, and everything's changed.
Perfect. And how's the community thing going? I mean, how's the engagement with the community? Because World of Warships and generally Legends, the console players, where we are a niche community. I mean, we're a small community. We're not a community like Call of Duty, for example, or Grand Theft Auto, or any other big, AAA games. But we are a niche community with hardcore fans. People with a lot of knowledge about naval history and naval experience and all that stuff. So how is the engagement? I mean, did you have some experience about naval history, games, ships, or whatever, or you are just a gamer that loves the gameplay?
A bit of both, actually. I've always liked military history and militarium, so ships, aircraft, tanks, things like that since I was a kid. I've always had an inbuilt history, love of history. I wouldn't call myself a historyophile though. My memory isn't good enough. But I've always enjoyed that type of game, so I suppose combining the two things, which is where World of Tanks came in on console. I've always been a console player, never really been a PC player until more recently. And all my friends played tanks and games like that, and I moved away from Battlefield, moved into playing World of Tanks, moved into playing ships on Xbox, and I suppose the community itself, it's interesting. You have a real range. You have a competitive side, which some of the big fleets cover. You have a sort of casual, social side, and you have the PvP side. People take it quite seriously, but not too seriously. A lot of my community are doing it because of its social. We've known each other for a long time. People come in, we're very welcoming. And it's about helping people learn, play the game, not get overwhelmed by it. There's a lot to understand. I had a guy come in on stream on Thursday who's been playing for 5 weeks and come across from PC. Now, you try explaining the game to a newbie who's come from PC with all of its bells and whistles, what Legends is. It's a very, very different game. Even though it looks similar. The mechanics are very different. So yeah, it's changed a lot, but a lot of the community stayed together even though they don't play the game as much anymore. I see a lot of the same people popping in and saying hello, even though they don't maybe play Warships as much, the same as you were off for 1.5 years. So it takes all sorts, is what I would say. But my love of it comes from being a big kid at heart, I think.
Perfect. So now, let's go into the roast directly. We have the Spanish update. What do you think about it? I mean, we already did an episode about the patch notes and all that stuff. But you can tell us in 5 minutes what will happen in a few days in World of Warship Legends with the Spanish Armada. And I think that because you are a community contributor, you tried the Hector, okay? And you can tell us a bit about the ship and how the ship goes. Okay, come on, give us some details. But
well, I haven't played the Hector. Unlike STs, unlike super testers, and I was a super tester before I became a community contributor. We don't get the ships early. We get them on launch day, on update day, the same as you. But we do get the ship so that we can share it with the community and what it's like on launch. From what I can see, it looks to me to be and Zarkun did a really good video on the patch notes as well. It looks to me to be a version of the Colbert. It's got 14 133mm guns. It does have 16 torpedoes, which makes it a little different to Colbert because Colbert doesn't get torpedoes. I'm intrigued to see how the Hector works. It looks like it will be it has a smoke generator, it has sonar or defensive AA, it has a repair party. I could see it being a menace in smoke screens. And of course it could defend itself because it's got hydro, but it's also a light cruiser, so it's going to get walloped by battleships. I imagine it's got no armor whatsoever. Standard stealth and concealment is 10.5 kilometers. So you can probably, depending on the commander, and I haven't had a good look at the commander skills, it wouldn't surprise me if you're looking at between 9 and 9.5 kilometer concealment with a reasonable commander build. It's going to be quite sneaky. It's going to have a lot of torpedoes. It's going to be dangerous, and it's going to be dangerous to destroyers as well. Very dangerous to destroyers, but it doesn't have radar. So I think it'll be fun. We've got a lot of these, the Jinans of this world, the Brisbane-like ships. The Colbert doesn't get a smoke screen, and that can be lethal. But if this is like the Colbert and it gets a smoke screen, it's going to be so annoying to battleships. Everything will be on fire.
Because I think we are overwhelmed with cruisers and we need something else. But the community is always asking for cruisers, and I really don't understand that request. Can you?
Well,
can you
okay. I will give you an example. Actually, the problem you have two different kinds of players, or well, actually you have more than that. But when it comes to cruisers, you have these heavy cruisers: the Kronstadt, the Stalingrad, the Alaskas. Big super cruisers, basically. Battle cruisers, the British would call them. But then light cruisers only really survive at high tier, which is where we're seeing these ships. Most of these Admiralty backing ships are all tier 8 these days. It's just the way the game has developed into, they've kind of filled out tier 7 and now they're filling out tier 8. Fine, that's the way it is. But what it means is that you have, when you go into a battle, a number of times I've seen 2 or 3 destroyers, 1 cruiser, and the rest battleships. Or 1 destroyer, 2 cruisers, and one of those cruisers is a Stalingrad or an Alaska type or a Kronstadt or a Gear or a Schroeder or a Michelangelo, and then the rest are battleships, and maybe an aircraft carrier. There's actually not that many cruisers at high tier, and it's not or being played at high tier. So people are avoiding paying them because actually it's quite hard to play a relatively weakly armoured ship at tier 8 and legendary, because most things have got big guns, 18s. A lot of the cruisers have got 15-inch guns. Your Preussens will one-shot them. So if you're not a half decent player, you won't survive, so you don't play it. So you play a destroyer. Lucian, I'm looking at you, which is low-key easy mode. Shimikazes, Gearings, these people coming in playing high-tier ships. So people are coming in playing high-tier ships who don't know how to play them. They get a cruiser, or they get blapped 3 times, and then they don't play that cruiser ever again. So actually, there may be a lot of cruisers there, but I'm not seeing a lot of them in game. So, does that mean we need more cruisers, or does that mean we need to educate the player base to learn how to play them better?
Okay, let's say that we need to educate the player base a bit. From what I saw when I returned in the community, is that people fire up the console, they load the game, the legends, and then they pick up a random commando. They don't even care if the appropriate commander is good or updated, or the commander is at full force. They put it in the ship and they go live.
Yep.
And
tier 1 Deweys everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think Wargaming is giving all the best that he has to educate the player base about the commanders and the system and the commander system, and how to update them, to upgrade them, how to choose the correct commander for the correct ship. The insignias, there is a lot of going. Even they made a battle screen with the commanders, the score, the final screen of the game, which shows the players and what commander they are using, to educate the player base to pick the correct commander, or to make them dig out some information about what commander do they want to choose the appropriate. So this thing is not going very well because we are having a lot of casual players that they play for fun. We, the hardcore community, as we say, we are a few, and they are overwhelming us. This is not bad sometimes, because you need those players to kill them, in game, okay? But it also makes the game a bit, it makes the games a bit fluffy. So sometimes you win easy, and sometimes you lose very easy. That's why, that's why the main thing about the win rate is that the win rate is all around 50%, because for each 10 players that they win, there are 10 players that they lose, okay? That's the game. Now, in your thoughts, Blay.
Oh, okay, right. Here's my. This is as well balanced a view on this as I possibly can give you. You're absolutely right, 80-90%, and that's a number I'm plucking out of the air. Who played this game are casual. They come in. They half of those probably don't even play PvP. They play PvE. They just want to play boats, and they love things like War Tales and what have you. And they love that mode. Great. And so they should. They want to play boats and they want to make things explode. It's an arcade game. No problem at all. Wargaming have kind of shot themselves in the foot by listening to the community. By being able to see what commanders somebody's running. So this whole tier 1 Dewey thing. and and level 5 and level 6 commanders at tier 8 and legendary. You shouldn't have those commanders at... Well, to be fair, this chap who came in the other day from PC, been playing for 5 weeks, he had 2 tier 8s. Now, that and Izumo and I think the Minigumo he had. He was asking which one to get because obviously it's free. But he knows how to play the game. But if new players are coming in, they're maybe spending £20 on some doubloons and they're getting a tier 8 ship. They're going to have low level commanders. But by letting the experienced, so those of us with an axe to grind and pitchforks and torches, see what other players are doing, so when that donkey and a Bismarck just sails straight up the middle and gets annihilated, and we all go, God, he was only running a level 3 or whatever. Well, yeah, because he doesn't know any better. But also, that person doesn't want to know any better. And also, the commanders are so complex. I personally have set up commanders as I go along, and I hate messing with them. Because I'm not interested. What I want to do, personally, is play the game, play the ships as best as they possibly can be. When I get a ship, I'll set it up. I like the fact there are now 3 versions of each commander, but it's also giving everybody too many options. There are these meta builds for ships and commanders. And the problem comes that there is this overwhelming level of information that comes into a new player, and he goes, "Oh, I can't be dealing with that. I just want to play the Hood or the Bismarck or the Belfast, which is the common ones that people know." Same as coming into World of Tanks and playing the Tiger Tank. They don't know any better. They just want to play the Tiger Tank. So the solution, what I'm saying is that you're not going to stop people having low commanders playing those ships. And I would suggest that they've always been there to some extent. We can just see them now, which is the mistake that Wargaming have made by letting us see them. I think from a player involvement and information point of view, I think every ship should have a recommended sort of tech tree commander. This is the commander you should run on this ship. When you first get a ship, there should be a recommendation button. The game should recommend something to new players. So you don't see carrier commanders on destroyers. So you don't see battleship commanders on cruisers. We know the difference. New players may not. So a level of being able to recommend to new players may actually support the fact that they don't know. But also, it's a grind to upgrade commanders. It costs money, time, effort. People don't always have it. I think you're always going to have it, and then we're never going to go down the skill-based matchmaking system because that's horrendous. We don't want that. So, unfortunately, in a game that's as broad as this, I don't think we'll ever get rid of it. But what we can do is mitigate it by informing new players better. And I think that's the solution. But you're always going to get potatoes. It's just the nature of the beast.
Perfect. Yes, and I agree with that. You said it all clearly, and I agree very well. Also, you're saying about the commanders and the information about it. The community asked about detailed stats about the ships, and the HC penetration, the AP penetration, some transparency on how each ship is producing the damage with the appropriate commander or with any other commander. So Wargaming gave us now, in the next update, the detailed stats about damage, about penetration and that stuff. Do you think that all that thing also will confuse the new players? And how veteran players, the hardcore community, will like that feature that it's been asking from the day one from community members? They wanted the detailed stats.
I think for new players it's all very overwhelming. I'm one of those people that always go through all the windows and look at all the different options in a game before I play it, because that's just the way I'm wired. Not everybody does that. But I've discovered something. I've been playing Helldivers 2 a lot recently, and I discovered something and I've been playing it for weeks, months. I didn't know there were buffs on the armor you get in Helldivers 2. Had no idea. None. I thought they were all just cosmetic and they all did the same. They were either light, medium, or heavy, and that's it. But no, there are actually benefits of running different armors in different environments. I had no idea. The game doesn't tell you that. The only way I get that information is by being told it by the people I'm playing with. So the problem you find in warships is that's how this kind of information has got around. It's got around by word of mouth. So if you think that when you look at if you look at this page with the Ohio in the patch notes, and it's showing the initial, and this is what your commander does, and it reduces your reload time from 27.5 to 22.3. This is what the commander does. It's very similar to when you put a foregrip on a rifle in Call of Duty or Battlefield, or you change the scope, or you change the buttstock, because there is an immediate change to your stats, and that's what people are used to. So I actually think this is a really good idea, because if people are coming from different games, this will make far more sense to them than the boxes that we had before. It may be hard for us, being old farts who struggle with change, to deal with initially, but actually for a new player coming in, you'll be able to see, oh, okay, so I put this commander on, my stock time is this, and then if I put him on, it's that. Great. I think it's a good thing, and I think it's a much better way of representing those numbers to players, because it has meaning. Because otherwise, what we used to do is we used to have to remember, and that sucks, because I'm old.
Mr. Fider here on Discord chat says, I can wait for the Armada de Español. What do you think about the Armada de Español, Mr. Blay?
I think the gimmick is going to be interesting, with the way it could fire multiple salvos, like load 3 shells, and it can fire, and then you have a longer reload. I think, but what I fear is I feel that they're going to be quite average in performance with a gimmick, and I don't. Whereas I need to play them. I don't know, but I'm concerned. I don't want the gimmick to be what they are, if that makes any sense.
It reminds me the introduction of the Italian ships, if you remember back then in time.
With the sap.
Yeah, something like.
But if you look at the Dutch cruisers, the further up the food chain you go with Dutch cruisers, the better cruisers they are. They are just better cruisers. The Haarlem is a great cruiser. The Eendracht is a great cruiser. They're really good ships. The Golden Lion is a good cruiser. But they're also good cruisers with airstrikes. So I'm intrigued to see how they go, particularly with their guns. And it looks like their guns go up in tiers similar to Dutch. So hopefully they do what the Dutch ships do, which is that they get better and better. They should get better, but comparatively to their tier of ships. The Kiekdoen is just... Ugh.
From the community, they say that the Spanish cruisers are ships that they ambush, they hide a bit, and then they put all the force and they ambush other ships, and they need to be played carefully. But they always say that they are fun to play, and but you need some skill to be skillful to play Spanish cruisers successfully. I really don't know, because I haven't played even in the PC the Spanish cruisers, but that's the feel the community, the veterans, and some people that have asked from the PC game. They say to me that it is a nice introduction in Legends, and it will need some time to be normalized, but clever people will take advantage of those cruisers. But we have different ships, but we go to tier 7, 8. They have a lot of tiers. They have 9, 10, and they have another tier, if I remember very well, in PC. They go up to... How they call the extra tier in the PC? Like
Super ships, tier 11.
Okay, tier 11, whatever. Yeah, okay. I think that the difference is huge, PC versus Legends, in case of the armor and the guns, but I think that it will go very well. But now, have you seen anything else in the patch notes that made you smile or made you cry? Do you have any noticeable moment in patch notes that really need to talk? Because after I have...
The big thing, and it's only 2.5 lines in the patch notes, is that carriers are coming into Fleet Cup. So they are allowing... It's tier 7 this time. And you can field as many battleships as you like, plus 1 aircraft carrier is allowed. So there is a real concern in my heart about what carriers will do to Fleet Cup. There is one argument that suggests that, well, the maps are so small it won't make any difference, and as soon as they get spotted, they'll get deleted. Maybe. Equally, they could be an absolute game changer to how you play Fleet Cup, and it could be very passive, and it's very much a stay in cover, keep together, use your defensive AA, and keep the bloody planes away from you. So I am apprehensive, is the politest way of putting it, about the introduction of carriers to Fleet Cups. I'm not a carrier fan. Yes, I can play carriers. I'm okay in them, but in a 5v5, I suppose what they're trying to do is make us play, because ranked is 5v5 this season, which is 5, 6, and 8, interestingly, because no tier 7s this time. I imagine what they're trying to do is separate the 5v5 modes so that they're different, because there's there won't be carriers in ranked. But yeah, I'm not convinced about the carriers in Fleet. I might, hey, prove me wrong, but I'm not comfortable.
I have a list with 10 things that I would like to chat with you. I gathered those things from the community, and I have it right now in front of my microphone. So, the very first, epic legendary modes and monetizations. You pay for fixes you didn't ask for. What do you think about it?
Pay for fixes you didn't ask for. What do you mean by fixes?
I mean, at the update that is coming, Wargaming is giving us the legendary mods free, and you can acquire them with steel.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's something like a test that community is gonna pay with steel, so they can test, the AA guns and all that stuff. So.
This might. Okay. Well. Legendary and epic modifications have been there for a while now at higher tier, and you do pay for them with steel, and you always have done. That's not a new thing. But having said that, I like the changes for the AA. I think AA does deserve an epic modification. There aren't many carriers at legendary tier. You see them in 8 or 9 games. Mm-hmm. You don't see them very much. Thankfully. Unfortunately, you see a lot of other things at legendary tier. But I think paying for them, you only pay for them if you need to use them.
Yeah.
I think with steel being the way it is and the way we earn it now, there's nothing in the steel store for us that we really want. I still haven't got the Dyson, and I'm not keen on getting it. I've played it; it's fine. But yeah, there's nothing really there that makes me go, yes. I think if you have a ship that you really enjoy, that you're good at, I think spending 25 on a legendary or an epic, whichever one comes first, I can never remember which, modification for reload or for secondaries is a small price to pay. I don't think it's outrageous.
Okay, I agree with that.
And you earn that in game anyway.
Yeah, perfect. So the second one.
So
that's bobbing rounds. Are they mini CVs that gone wild? What do you think about the dad's cruisers? Are they? Oh.
Sorry, the next one was stats and quality of life, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm changing the order. I think.
Oh, okay. Oh,
okay.
Damn you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was the question?
The question was the dad's bobbing rounds. Are they mini CVs that they gone wild? What do you think about the dad's cruisers?
Have you played the Louisiana?
Yeah.
Right. That's outrageous. The Louisiana.
I can feel you.
I really, really like it, but I feel bad. I think interestingly, I think around tier 6 and 7, again, Haarlem and Eindracht, those two are the sweet spot for Dutch cruisers. They have a overbalanced effectiveness in the game because they're still quite stealthy. The guns make them good, heavy-ish cruisers, and the airstrikes are long enough range to be very effective. And if you've got one part around the other side of an island, it can be a real nightmare. I think that the Provincian is probably the worst of all of them in terms of the most annoying. I don't necessarily think they've gone wild, but they do. They do encourage park behind an island and left click for bombs. If you follow, it doesn't. People don't play them like ships.
I see it. Okay, so we said about the fleet cap, and I want to ask you about the fleets. Is there a dead content begging for a heartbeat? What do you think about it? Are you in a fleet? You have a fleet? Are you running a fleet?
I have the chicken fleet.
Okay.
I have the Council of Chickens.
Okay.
Council of Chickens.
Council of Chickens.
Which again was formed before fleets were a thing.
Okay.
And again, it comes back to that whole social thing. We get together every Sunday, sort of, however many come together. We all get together on Discord, and we try and we get into divisions, and we try and kill each other. We're not. If Fleet Cup's on, we'll play Fleet Cup unless it's tier 8, in which case everyone's complaining and we don't play it. Well, actually, except Ernie. Ernie loves tier 8. I think he's ill. But no, fleets are fun, but for the social aspect. I think the Fleet Cup is a great idea. Unfortunately, it isn't so much fun, which is why I think leagues might be an idea. It isn't so much fun when you get to the end. It becomes really quite sweaty. There becomes a meta, particularly the second or third week of a Fleet Cup run. And it's supposed to be fun. Well, at least it is for me. But people are so focused and sweaty on winning that, and I have no problem with that. If that's what floats people's boats, you go do that. But I do wonder if there should be some kind of tiered system where there's like this high skill, high reward mode in Fleet Cup and this casual amateur. There's 6 blokes in my fleet. We get together every weekend and we play ships occasionally. I wonder if there should be 2 levels, because I do think that it's quite easy for people to get disillusioned with it, with the level of competitiveness at the final stages. And I mean, it must be miserable for some fleets where you get your mates together and they play for 3 hours and they don't win a game. So I like that it's there. I think it needs a better way of appealing to the more casual fleets and the more social fleets that aren't highly competitive. I mean, the King of the Sea stuff, all of that kind of competitive fleet action is really, really good, and I highly I think they're amazing. But that's not what my fleet is, and there's over 30 of us. We're just nice people and friendly people who like playing ships and having fun. and we're not sweaties. And coming up against a Wasser fleet, no offense, Wasser, that's Gdansk, Louisiana, and I don't know, Des Moines or something. You kind of go, holy shenanigans, Batman. I mean that kind of, you see that division come up and you go, great. And you see a fleet like that, you might as well go, everyone put their controllers down. No. But you don't. You fight, because actually there's a big badge for beating a good fleet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know it means a lot to people when they beat these big fleets. So I just think there should be a level of balance, ideally. I do wonder. I mean, the risk with having tiers is that the lower one will get abused potentially. But I mean, hey,
that's the game.
That's the game. Yeah, people get abused all the time. But no, I think I like the fact that Fleet Cup's in there. I think, like all things, it can be improved.
Okay.
But you can't please all the people all the time.
Indeed, yeah.
Somebody's always going to be unhappy.
So, okay, let's go to the next one. Soviet ships finish what's old before adding the new. People are saying that Wargaming is adding new nations, but they don't add anything that's Soviet. And there is an old tech tree that it is abandoned. So what do you think about the Soviet nation in World of Warships Legends?
It's been completely forgotten.
Yeah, indeed.
It's been completely forgotten. I think you have, was it the Navarin? Is the Navarin a Soviet ship? I think it is.
Yeah.
You have the, what's the battleship with 6 guns with radar? You know the one I mean.
You mean the Stalingrad? What?
No,
you said
no.
I don't remember.
Yeah, battleship. It's got 2 turrets, same like a Richelieu, but it's got radar. It's good fun. But there are individual ships. So if you think about all of the cruisers that the Russians have got at tier 7, they've got cruisers coming out your ears. But if you get to tier 8, you've got the Petro and the other one that's not quite as good as the Petro.
Let me open my radar map.
But they've only got 2 cruisers at tier 8. You've got the battleships, and then you've got no Russian battleship at legendary tier. You've got the Stalingrad and the Khabarovsk, and that's it. You've got things like the Navarin. There's one of the golden ships is a version of the Navarin that's coming out in this next update. But you're absolutely right. I think after tier 7, there's just nothing there. You've got the Meteor, which is a version of one of the 2 tier 7 destroyers, which I can never remember which one because they're both funky. But I wonder where the line is, because they have a single battleship line, really. They have cruisers. They have a twin cruiser line all the way up to tier 8. So they have 2 tech tree cruisers up to tier 8. But they have no light cruisers at legendary tier. Yeah. They need one.
At the moment, as you say, for the Soviet, let me interrupt you a bit, we have the Stalingrad in the radar map. Okay, it is a cruiser. We have the Borodino is Soviet.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. The Borodino is the one with the radar. Yep.
Yeah. That's the ship we were looking for. Yeah.
So. But there's it just feel, but nobody plays them.
Yeah, I think that the Soviet line needs a bit of love. They need to add something so people will start to grind and use them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is there are better options.
Yeah, indeed. You can find better things.
Tier 8 is difficult because everything is just a bit average compared to legendary, if not very good, and it's slightly better than tier 7. So you can look at the Wisconsin. It's an Iowa with a reload booster, and it's excellent. The Whiskey's really, really good, and it's a great ship, but it's basically an Iowa with a reload booster. There you have the the Sovietsky Rossiya, which is the Azur Lane version of the Tier 8 battleship that's better at close range. Don't see them anywhere.
Haven't seen them.
Because it's not a very good ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I don't know what the solution is, because what would they be versions of? They'd have to be something different. I think things like the Kremlin need to come in.
Yeah.
I think Legendary is where we need a couple more Russian ship or Soviet ships. That's where we need them. Is it Legendary tier?
Let's see if the future is going to be revealing for the Soviet ships here. And also, I have a live questions at the moment in chat. And Mr. Fighter says, can we mention the Japanese hybrids, especially Aki? The Aki. The hybrids.
Yeah. So the Japanese hybrids have been teased. They're not coming out this update. Having teased them and then not released them, they've got to be coming out for December. Maybe they've gone back a stage at Super Test and they're being tweaked. I think I genuinely don't know, but the Japanese hybrids. They're going to come. They're coming into the game. There's nothing we can do about them. And actually, you know how good the Louisiana is, and even the Connecticut and the other ones from Tier 6 upwards for the Americans. They're good ships. They're very effective. Knowing what their strengths are... Well, no. Oh, no. If you said submarines, I have no idea. But yeah, we'll be getting these things soon.
Yeah.
I'm convinced. We'll be getting it over Christmas, I'm sure. Well, I'm fairly sure.
I have only one more question for Blay, so we can close up the podcast, because we are keeping him like a prisoner here. You know?
I like answering questions, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm in no rush, so don't worry.
There is one question from the community about the war tales. They say that the rewards are risk, but you have don't punish the effort for people are making. So there is a complaint about the war tales that people are really enjoying it, but the rewards aren't nice. What do you think about it?
Okay, we all got spoilt when they put War Tales in and the rewards were far, far, far too high. And everyone was like, this is amazing, look how much you can earn. And Wargaming went, well, hang on a minute, we may have overtuned that a touch. Maybe we should dial it back. And then nobody's ever going to be happy after that point. I do think there is a middle ground. I think the rewards... Also remember that War Tales is geared towards those people that spend most of their time in AI. So, or at least in my opinion, it is. So people who play PvE, I mean, Warship Legends is the only game I play that's proper PvP. I don't touch AI at all. I do all my premium stuff in standard. I don't touch AI. But I play a lot of third-person games that are PvE. So I understand the attraction of a PvE game where you're fighting against AI. So I think something that is more competitive, more challenging, more varied, which is what War Tales is brilliant, particularly for those types of players. And I think it is wonderful that it's in there, and I hope they make more of it and do more with it. I think from a challenge point of view, that's always going to need to be tweaked and managed. So you need to be able to, because if you take a legendary tier ship into a War Tale and you're fighting tier 6s and tier 7s, you're not going to make as much money as you do if you take a tier 7, because legendaries cost more to run. They just do. That's how the economy works in the game. So my advice would be, if you want the challenge, take a tier 7 or even a tier 6 into War Tales, because it won't cost you as much to run the ship and you'll earn more. Having said that, I think the rewards for completing it on harder difficulty should be greater. But I think what the game should tell you, potentially, is that if you go into a wartail in a higher tier than the wartail is, because it maxes out at tier 7 or tier 6, doesn't it? It should tell you you are potentially earning less credits by playing a tier 8 or a legendary. So actually, or just limit it, wartails, to up to tier 7. But I want to play my new tier 8, but this is the problem. People want to play their new tier 8 premiums that they've just got out of the campaign. They want to play them in wartails because they're PvE players. So you can't not do that. Because what you're necessarily doing is, well, why do I want all these premiums? Why do I want to spend money on the game when I can't play my favourite ships in wartails, my new ships in wartails, now that all my new premium ships are tier 8 and legendary? So either make wartails different tiers. This is a tier 7 wartail, this is a legendary wartail, and then the rewards and the earnings are comparative. There's a balance to be had. So I think the problem is that it's not one size fits all.
Okay, we have one last question for Blaymeister. It's coming from the chat and is Agent Just saying it. Question for Blaymeister. Now we have presets for commanders and map coordinates for the minimap. What quality of life would you like to see? My example is an indication icon for when you can use a heal at its maximum effect. What might you want to add? For example, he is giving an example of an indication icon when you can use a heal at a maximum effect.
He's talking about a quality of life.
Improvements.
I mean, there's a lot of nice quality of life stuff. I do like the codex in the port, actually. I think that's useful. I would also suggest that they need to direct people to it more. Because you don't get tutorial pointers going, go and look at the codex if you want to find out more about this ship, or this penetration, or these guns, or things like that. I think they could do more with that. I quite like his point about when you're using heals, because we always go, maybe there should be a little percentage on screen or on the bar saying this is how much of a heal you're going to get back if you use your heal now. That would be nice. In terms of quality of life, I think the best one, and this isn't one for me, is I think every ship should have a recommended. So when you go choose a commander, there should be another tab or something in there that says this is the recommended commander for this ship, and this is the recommended setup. If you just want, and it doesn't mean the I win meta build super. It just means this is, you have Scott on American cruisers. So you get the Helena, for example, and you log into the Helena and it goes, pick a commander. And it goes, choose a commander, and then it has a little box that says recommended. And you click that, and it goes, this is the recommended commander. It's Tony Scott. Was it Tony Scott? Whatever his first name is. You put that on. It goes, there's the recommended. And these are what the recommend. And they're literally just outlines around the boxes. You can choose what you want, but this is what it's recommending. So if you're a new player and you come in and you don't know the first thing about these commander builds, anything at all, it will just tell you, this is what we think you should do with this ship. And then you won't get into that, they've got a tier 1 Dewey on that carrier or whatever. And it gives you that level of just a starting point. Because once you've got that starting point for that commander, I would suggest that 8 out of 10 players never change that commander. I don't like changing commanders, it's a faff. So that would be my number one quality of life. Recommend a commander for every ship when you get it.
Default commander. That's a default commander that you can play well all around with, generic perks and all that stuff, that it can work very well.
Not tech tree commander. Don't go down the hole. Yeah.
That's
perfect.
That's
and then you'd have because somebody, at least they'd have an idea.
Yeah. So where they are going, or at least they have an idea where to spend the promotion orders that they have. Because some people, they put a destroyer commander on the battleship and they keep greeting the commander, and they, they put all the promotion orders to that wrong commander, and they like to play battleship, but the commander is a DD commander. So they waste all the promotions they earn in a week, and that's a waste of time, and sometimes it's a waste of money. So something has to be done.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I see that as the biggest obstacle to new players sticking around in Legends is the commander system.
Yeah.
If you've seen Thingy Potato from PC who comes on, remember when he first played it, the first thing he said is, "Oh my god, the commanders."
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm just used to it, but I have no interest in the commanders whatsoever, and I despise Azur Lane. I just don't like it. Don't want anything to do with it. But that's my personal preference. Having said that, I don't want to be disadvantaged when I have a commander on a ship, so I will try and build it sensibly. But once I've built it, I'm not messing around with it. I'll leave it.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of new players coming in would do that because it's just one more thing to have to muck about with. Yes, you can get 2% more accuracy, or 3% more range, or 1% more rudder turning, doing this, that, or the other. But you can learn that once you've got to grips with the ship. If you can't get the commander right, you're always at a disadvantage. And you're just going to go, do you know what, stuff this. This is a free-to-play game. I'm going to go and play Fortnite because I don't need to use my brain.
Okay, so I'm gonna thank you for being here. Rogue PLG couldn't make it because he had some problems with his audio. I think that next time he will be fine. We're gonna find the problem and solve him. Thank you all guys, Mr. Fighter, Altir, Agent Jazz, that being in the stage till late. If you have any questions to ask, or if you like to speak, you can make it now. Blaymeister, I'm gonna close the podcast and the recording. Thank you very much for being here, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks you very much. Take care.